Welcome everyone to another episode of Manifestation Real Talk. And with me today is the enigmatic, amazing, brilliant, bright, blinding bright Gina Mallison. And Gina and I had interacted before on another podcast I had, and I will never forget her vivacious. I mean, that's the only word. I use it all the time with her. And it's like not a word I use with anybody else. But it's that really, there's this just va-va-voom, you know? But it's also this happy, fantastic energy. Gina is an amazing life coach that has her own process. Long time ago, I knew it under another name, but she calls it the Mallison. And it's just a way, what do you call it? The Mallison?
The Mallison method.
Mallison method. I love it. And it's just a fantastic way to, in every single moment, being aware of what are you feeling? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Not what do other people want you to do? What do you want to do?
Yes.
And it just always leads to such a fun. Just fun is my biggest word. That's my go-to word at all times when I'm asking myself, what do I want to do? Something fun. And this is what I absolutely adore about Gina. And I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself a little bit more. And we're going to take this away to be the most fantastic interview I've had yet.
Oh, thank you. I'm just feeling so much right here in my chest. Oh my gosh. So introduce myself. So I'm Gina Mallison. I'm the creator of the Mallison method, which when Kristen and I first met, it was named the Evoke method, but remember, yes, the Evoke method. It's so funny story about that. But anyway, so I am somebody who found the teachings of Abraham Hicks 7 years ago when I was at my lowest low, rock bottom of my life, like single mom, unemployed, about to have to move back with my parents because I couldn't pay my bills. It was like awful. And but it's like when you're at your lowest low, that's when you're like have the strongest desires. And like I finally like surrendered and let go, and had the information about Abraham Hicks come in. And around the same time, I discovered some tools and techniques based in the world of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that to me, when I found both of those essentially at the same time, and they clicked so well together, and I put them together in my mind and in my practices, and like literally within 3 weeks, my world completely changed 180 degrees. And ever since then, I've just been living a life of more and more abundance, but abundance in all things, not just money, but relationships, health, well-being, travel, complete freedom, like all the abundance of all the things you could have. And it's just continuing to grow more and more as I continue to refine my practices and allow myself to be led by my feelings more and more. And like Kristen said, really discern more of what do I want versus what do I think I should do, what other people think I need to do, really discern that. And also then trust in the universe that I can do what I want and get what I want. Because a lot of us are stuck on the needs and shoulds but if I don't do that, something bad will happen, or I'll let somebody down, or I won't get that thing I want. But trusting more and more that no, your inner being is guiding you by what feels good, and what feels good is always a want, not a should or a need to. And so just practice doing that more and more, and shedding those old beliefs that come from lack and scarcity that would lead you down a different path. So that's my jam. This is the thing I'm obsessed about. Like, I think like how Einstein was to his inventions is how I am to this work of Abraham Hicks and mastering law of attraction. I just think it's the basis for everything amazing that you can experience in your life. So what better thing to be obsessed with than mastery of the creation process?
And when people do what they love, not just, oh, I like doing this, but, lights them on fire.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And, for me, it's success stories. I love hearing people's success stories. I love celebration. I love the energy of oh my God, congratulations. And I love creating from that space.
Yes.
I love like consciously creating from that space.
Yes.
Like waking up in the morning and going, what do I want to create today? What's coming up and going, oh, me. And I just love going, okay. And in that moment, purposefully creating that day and just going, okay, I love hearing this and I love hearing that, whether it's happened or not yet. Yeah. And oh my God, the world that has opened up for me, and you say opened up as if it's like the end, shut the book. Yes. But oh my God, no, every day just
keeps expanding more and more and more and more and more. It's like that ever blooming flower. It never stops blooming. More and more petals come out. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just so wonderful. It's so wonderful to be like, wow, what blew my world away yesterday is like playing it small today.
Old news, yeah.
That's nothing. That was easy, and just, oh my God. So I love this. So I know you recently went to Hawaii.
Yes.
What, tell me about what has just been taking off for you recently.
So the trip to Hawaii was phenomenal. It is, so I listen to mainly like I have a number of channels that I like to listen to. Abraham Hicks is like the number one to me, but I also listen to Sarah Landon and Paul Selig, and then on my own, I work privately with this channel that goes by Oprah. Paul Selig is just phenomenal. He channels the guides, and he had this retreat in Maui at the it's the same resort that Ram Dass used to hold all his retreats. Oh my God, it was so scrumptious. This entire resort, the retreat, it was like 6 days of just immersion in this vibration of pure love. And I don't even know how to describe it, but you'd wake up, you'd go to like a 2-hour session with him, and there was 144 people there with us, again in the same tented area that Ram Dass used to teach at, and you would just be in the presence of these magnificent words, but the vibration was everything. And then you would take this 3-hour break where you would go swim in the ocean or relax at the beach or walk along the trails with the beautiful flowers and the butterflies and the birds. And then you would go back into the tent for another 2.5 hours with the group. And then it was like literally 6 days in a row of this. When you're in an environment like that, surrounded by these people, this beauty and these teachings and this vibration, the momentum that is allowed to build with like no interruptions of anything low vibe or like the doesn't match. And so like literally, I remember in one of the sessions, I'm sitting there and he had like, I got to sit on this like little chair that was basically on the floor. It just supported your back. And I could not stop moving. It was like, I'm sure people were looking at me like I was having a Kundalini awakening. I'm like doing this, I'm like stretching, I'm yawning. And then sometimes he has us do this thing where we just do this attunement through tone. We're like, and like literally the electricity flowing through my body was insanity. I remember at one point we took a break and I sat down and I was talking to people next to me. I was like, where's my seatbelt? I feel like I need to put a seatbelt on because this vibration that's blowing my hair back is insane. So it's one of my favorite activities. I've been on a number of Abraham Hicks cruises. Like these kinds of things are just such my jam. So I'm just super, super, super juiced up from that. I just got back on Friday night from that retreat. So
do you feel like anything really like a belief or anything just went through that?
There was, it's interesting. I remember there was this one moment where he has you partner up with people sometimes and you look each other in the eye and speak these attunements to each other. And I remember having this awareness of like, oh, I just love this. Thank you for reminding me of this. This, the releasing, for the most part, I've released it a lot, a lot. But I had an awareness that I was still had this concern about wanting people to like me and like letting that go. You know what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
that I don't enjoy people liking me. I love people liking me, but to be attached to that doesn't feel good and often brings you evidence of people liking you and not liking you. And like, I like not caring if people like me or not. That's been pretty easy for me in most of my life. Like you and I were just talking like about before we started this about how we're gum chewers and
Yeah.
like, you know, sometimes I'm doing a workshop on Zoom and I'm chewing on gum and I know that some people are just thinking like, oh, she looks like a cow chewing on grass and she shouldn't be doing that. And I love like not caring that about people's thoughts about that, but releasing that on even additional things that I still have that little like, what are people thinking of me? You know, dropping that. So
Yeah.
that was one very specific thing that I remember being consciously aware of releasing an attachment to during the workshop. Yeah.
That's so funny because I could not see you thinking that way.
Ah, I
That
love
is
that. Thank you. I mean,
the
yeah.
state of Gina, that state. That is not in there at all. That is just not part of that state of just joy and happiness and always so in tune with yourself. I just love that.
Hmm.
That's awesome. Okay. So when I was listening to your current podcast with Rhonda,
Yes.
I love how you said, when you were on the Abraham cruise, you would just get into these conversations with people and oh my God. And then you'd like leave and go down the hallway and there's another one and you get going again.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is probably my most favorite place to embody.
Yes, it's so funny that you bring that up because I was actually thinking about that this morning. I love being around people. It's one of the reasons I love like the Abraham Hicks cruises because there's just like hundreds and hundreds of people that are there to play with and I love not planning things and coordinating things. You know what I'm saying? I love just bebopping around and like following my guidance, like turn right or turn left or go. I think I might have said it on Rhonda's podcast, but I don't know if I did. But on the cruise, I decided to like smoke cigarettes. Like I used to be a long time smoker, pack a day. I quit that but there was just something that was calling me to it on this cruise. So I didn't judge myself. I didn't worry about getting addicted again. It's been like until just now, I forgot that I even did it. You know, it's been wonderful. So I gave myself permission to do it. And no wonder I was led to that because I had the most fantastic conversations out on the smoking deck with people. It's the funnest thing. You know, anytime I was impulsed to go out and smoke, I'd go and I would have the most juiciest conversations. And then I'd be done and walk in and like, where do I want to go? To this restaurant or over to here or over to the shop? And then I'd bump into somebody else and we would just have the most juicy conversation. And one of the things that I remember speaking about it on Rhonda's podcast about it is that there was something so magical about my state of being and allowing on this cruise that because I was bebopping along without a care in the world and without like trying to be somewhere, I would just run into somebody. This organic conversation would unfold, and the amount of presence I would have in that conversation, not effortful presence, not like, let me fully be here present. It just was a natural because it was such a juicy, like, oh my God, connecting conversation. I felt like in every conversation I had, I got to experience eternity. Like time went away. You know, I wasn't thinking about anything that led up to that conversation or anything going after. I was just fully there. And it was like an eternal moment. It was the coolest thing. I felt like time stopped and me and this person just swam around in feeling connection and talking about whatever we were talking about. And then there'd be just this natural ending point. You could just feel like, not that the energy left, but like the energy built. It was like so satisfying. And okay, we're done, you know? And then on to the next adventure. This is so fun.
Oh my God. What you must have just what you must have experienced, the things that came your way through that energy. Oh my gosh. And I find that when I really reach out to when I was on fire, just whether it's a feeling or a remembered state or whatever, or an interaction with somebody, when I start my day or any part of my day, I just go back to not being tired, but remembering who I was when I was on fire. And oh my God, it immediately, this huge person about you are an immediate manifester. We are master manifestors in immediate states, immediately. Like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and that's a state, and in that moment I manifest my bathroom, and poof, it's right there. Oh my God. Funny. And when I'm just like finding that state of, just on fire, just, oh my God, soaring so high and feeling like I'm expanding, like I'm going to burst. What immediately shows up in those moments, even if it's just a bird landing next to me or something, or all of a sudden there goes a bald eagle or something, just going, wow. Yeah. I adore that. And that is what I seek out for my podcast.
Yes.
I seek out those visionary type people, those, high vibing, highest of vibing people.
Yes.
And I love that. I love it. And I also love being in the space of there's nothing less than that. There really isn't. Yeah. We can play that there is, and that's fine. But no, I'm done playing there. Because I think about, when if you believe in death, when you die, it's like, oh, all the struggle, all the hardship, all that's taken away. And I'm like, why do we have to have a thing called death to have that?
Yeah. Yes. 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 Allow yourself to have that experience now while you're living. Oh my gosh, the feeling.
Just gonna let you sit with that.
I know. Like, what I just keep experiencing as you're talking is just this, I'm not going to do it justice. This like, whoa, like this vibration of tone and light, and like literal vibration of like everything coming at me, and me allowing it, allowing my vibration to rise to meet that, where there's just like an awareness of the sensations and the brightness. And one of my favorite things is to allow myself to be in that state, which is just pure like receiving of the feeling and the sensation and the ecstasy, and not be concerned with what's going to show up from that, but be open and aware of what is showing up that is a match to that, that's just like, it can kind of take it to the next level. But for me, the highest level is actually the unmanifested state of feeling the sensations. The manifestations are super cool, but like it's like the flavor of them, like with gum, can be chewed out pretty quickly if you focus on that. So I just continue to keep my, I can't help, like, Kristen, your energy is so good as you're talking. You probably could see me. I'm just like, my eyes are closed, and I'm just allowing myself to bask into the feelings of this atmosphere that you and I have created together, the vibrations of your voice, the feeling of your enthusiasm and your tone of voice, and even the unspoken, unheard energy of you, and then our energy together. That's so delicious. And then again, so like, I just keep like, tell this story. Okay. So, cause manifestations are phenomenal for sure. Like, yes. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I work with somebody that I refer to as my own private Abraham. They're Oprah channeled by Ramona Gailey. I love Ramona and Oprah. I've worked with them since 2019. And I was aware a couple of years ago that Ramona got in the hot seat one time with Abraham. Never heard it, never really felt an impulse to try to find it or ask her for it. But I like listened to a podcast she was on like a month ago or something. And she had mentioned this hot seat and she talked about what the hot seat content was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I gotta see this. I gotta hear this hot seat. I have to. Because she was talking about everything I'm obsessed with, about like feeling emotions as sensations in your body. And I'm like, that's what my whole Mallison method is created about, is about teaching people to learn to tune to sensations, not be scared of them, and allow them to transform and alchemize and whatever. And so on my next meeting with her, I was like, how do I get a hold of this hot seat? She's like, well, it was from like the 2017 or 2015 Alaskan cruise. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I have that in my, anyway. So I went on Abraham's website to find it. And sure enough, they have it, but it came in a CD, a pack of CDs. And I'm like, okay, I'm buying it. I bought it. And I'm like, I need to get a CD player. I was not inspired in that moment to go. I knew I could find one on Amazon for like $10, whatever, or Goodwill. But like, I literally had an awareness that I don't feel the inspiration to go buy one. And I kind of like was like, I'm eager to see how I get a CD player. Like maybe a neighbor will, like, who knows? But I just knew I wasn't impulse to buy it. So I'm either gonna be aware of when the impulse to buy it comes, or something magical happen. So that was one day. And then the next day, I'm driving in my Porsche Macan, this little SUV I got last year in a magical way. I'm driving around. It's a beautiful sunny day that's like making me that much more eager and salivating for summer. Like when, the winters here are like this dark, long gray tunnel. And so that first day of sun, you're like, oh my God, summertime. So I'm driving around my Porsche and it made me go, oh my gosh, I want a convertible again. We've had like 3 or 4 convertibles over our time together, me and Ian. And I'm like, almost like, man, I wish we didn't get rid of our last convertible. Oh, well, like we'll get one again someday, whatever. And like passing thought, but just like instant awareness of a desire for a convertible for this summer. Didn't say anything to anybody about the CD player or about the convertible. The next day, Ian and I were driving with our neighbors to go to a restaurant together. Ian and I are in the back seat and he's sitting there all giddy and he's like, you'll never believe what I almost did today. And I look at him and I was like, did you almost go see a convertible or buy are you looking at a convertible? He goes, yes, actually, in fact, I was. And he shows me this Porsche convertible and he's like, but it's old. I was like, shut up. Does it have a CD player? Because like cars nowadays don't have CD players, they have Bluetooth. No shit. It was like a convertible with a CD player. Like both of my desires that I recognized in the days before and didn't say anything to anybody come together in this manifestation. We ended up not getting that over the next few days. It unfolded, and now I've got a brand new convertible sitting in my garage. Also, anyway, it was like, how do I say this? My work is to, and it's not even work, it's the most enjoyable thing ever, to continue to just tune myself to those lovely vibrations, be aware of when I'm not feeling good, not resist it or push it away or like try to run to feeling better, but allow myself to sit with it and allow it to dissolve and soothe itself away, and I float back up and allow desires to occur to me. My vortex is pulsing. Even though I've got all this stuff that I wanted, I still want more. And I don't even need to be aware of what's in my vortex. I don't make dream boards, but I do know, because I've experienced it over and over again, as I'm going throughout my day feeling good, an awareness of something in my vortex, like a Porsche or like a convertible or like a CD player or like listening to Ramona's hot seats pop into my head. And I love my knowing that I don't have to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite thing is to watch how it happens.
Watch it come to you.
Yes, without me trying to put it into place. I didn't say nothing to nobody, but I get it a few days later, like the most delicious, like coming together, so that's just my favorite thing.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that story, and I did hear that story, and I love that you told it again, because I love that story. plus the color and everything that was in there, which is the color of the car you have and you love, but the convertible came in that color.
Oh, are you talking about?
Or is that an old one?
It's another one, literally, Kristen. My stories about manifesting cars are insane. Like,
I know.
This is the other reason why it was a no-brainer that convertible thing just happened, because I literally had just filmed that podcast with Rhonda in those 2 days before all of this came together. So literally, Rhonda puts out that podcast of me talking about how I manifested the Porsche Macan, which is this color blue. Like, that was in Rhonda's podcast. And I was talking about how that manifested, like, with a quick thought of, man, I want a Macan. And 2 days later, I get this, Ian buys me a Macan in this Miami blue color that was being shipped to me while I was on my way to Miami. Like, and then by the time Rhonda posts that podcast, I'd already manifested this brand new car, convertible Porsche. Like, it's just like, it just boom, 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 boom. It like literally happened that fast and that like out of the blue. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this space of just knowing it's coming.
Yes.
Don't know how, but the fact that I want it means like, here I go again on another whoosh on the roller coaster of life.
Yes.
And oh my God, I love that. I love that. So recently, Sanjala is going to go to the Amsterdam Abraham. Yes. She's so excited. She's never done Abraham live.
In person? Oh, wow.
And so you guys that are watching this, Sanjala was on a couple podcasts ago. So one of the things I was telling her is like, oh my God, what would it be like if I showed up there?
Oh my God. Oh, Kristen, that'd be so cool.
I mean, I'm like going, I don't know how. And I just happened to look it up and it's like $11,000 round trip first class and everything. And I'm like going, okay, chump change, whatever.
Yeah. You can be gifted a flight, sure.
And my biggest thing is I love Neville Goddard. And one of the things about Neville Goddard is his teacher was just like, you already went and you went first class. Yeah. And for a situation that hadn't even happened yet, right? And Neville's like, wait a minute, but how is it going to happen? How am I going to afford this? We're in the middle of the depression. And Abraham won't go. I mean, not Abraham, Abdullah won't go there. He's just like, you already went. He's like violent. You already went. No more discussion about it. And of course it happened.
Yeah.
And so I was very tempted to buy the ticket myself. And, and then I go on the Abraham site and all the tickets it's all sold out and everything. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, my biggest thing is I just want to see Sanjala.
Yeah, her face.
Squeeze that chick, and I've never been to Amsterdam. I've always wanted to go to Amsterdam. So my whole thing is like, this is like right around the corner. This is like 4 weeks away, 3 weeks away, something like that. But I'm like going, I can't wait to see how this unfolds. I can't wait. I'm just so excited to see how this unfolds. And I cannot, if I was to try and figure it out, like how am I gonna, I could do it myself. Yes, I could go online and all that, but there's no inspiration there. There's no exciting. That feels
it's not as satisfying when you figure it out and take the steps as to when it like lands in your lap. And it's like, it's so amazing. It's a story that everybody's like, tell me that again. How did that happen? Like, I love it when it happens. And you, even after it happens, you're scratching your head. How the fuck did that happen? I don't even know how, but like this person, and then this, and then this, and then this, and I got that. What?
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm just, there was this part of me that's like going, you want, because it happened in Christmas. I had an amazing, trip to Florida to see my sister. And it was just one crazy ass fun event after another. And I was completely hands off. I was just like, my sister waked me up in the morning. She goes, we're going to go play with manatees. We're going to go zip line over alligators. We're going to do all this fun stuff. And within all those fun stuffs were amazing things, amazing interactions with people. and such a fun time with my sister, who were not really close, but we became close. And it was just, and there was a moment before I did this where I was like going, what do I want to do for Christmas? I never go anywhere. I never do anything. And I was thinking, I want to do something crazy. Maybe take a trip to Hawaii, just me. And that did not feel good. It felt like, okay, I could do it, but didn't feel good. And then it just popped up. Florida, go to Florida. And it wasn't go to Florida to see your sister. It was go to Florida. And I went, oh yeah. I mean, it was an obvious, it was an obvious hell yes. It was nothing other than a hell yes. And so it was like a week away. And I reached out to my sister and I said, I'm going to be in Florida for this date to this date. If you want to hang out, let me know. And it was like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. You got to come. You're going to stay with us. And it was like being on a tour where everybody took care of everything, food, staying. And it was so powerful. And then when I left, my flight was canceled. I was in the middle of all that crazy stuff that was happening in December 26th time, when all the flights were canceled all over the whole United States and everything. And I never lost my, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Oh my God, what's going to happen next? And I could feel an aspect of me, my future self, going, oh honey, this takes care of itself. Just enjoy. This takes care of itself. And I ended up having 12 hours of the most amazing interactions with people. And they were like, there are no flights for the next 3 days. Nobody's going anywhere. And I felt this inspiration to look on my phone. And of course, this thing popped up, this 1-800 number popped up, and I called that. And they're like, yeah, we'll get you out of there. Would you be okay if you went to Ontario, which is right next to LAX? Would you be okay if you went to Ontario instead? And I'm like, my car's at LAX, but if this gets me home, that's okay. And I was like, yeah. And it ended up being half the price. Everybody else who was possibly going to get you out in 3 days, $1,000 for one way.
Wow.
And these guys are like 400, and we're getting you out tonight. And then I'm sitting here going, how am I going to get to my car at LAX? And this one fortuitous situation after another led me to this amazing family from Australia who overheard my conversation of getting out, and they were stuck too. And as I hung up with these people, they're like, how did you get a flight? Tell us. And I'm like, okay, here's the number. They got a flight out too on my flight. And we just happened to run into each other like 3 hours later. I was in some odd, obscure corner of the airport by myself, trying to find a way to, charge all my phones and everything. And they just happened to walk by that corner, far, far away from our gate. They just happened to walk by that corner. I went, oh, hey. And they're like, oh my God, we've been looking for you. They're like, do you need a ride from Ontario to LAX?
You're like, okay, yes.
I just happened to be on the budget rental car trying to find, and I couldn't get anybody to answer any of the numbers. And they're like, you're going with us. In fact, if you would, you could drive, because we were on the wrong side of the road. And I'm like,
oh yeah.
So we ended up hanging out. Their two daughters and myself, and we just, oh my God. And it just really, it's these stories. It's these stories of just letting it unfold.
And allowing yourself to feel good as it unfolds. Like it's funny, like sometimes you talk to people who, as they have things that it doesn't look like it's working out, they're stressing and they're trying to pound things into place, and then it still ends up working out anyway. And it's like, you could have like let go of the stress and struggle and the trying to pound it out and allowed it, because no matter what, it's going to work out. So you just allow yourself to be easy about it. And then as the more easy you are about it, the more fun it works out along the way, like with other people, cooperative components, and relationships being born out of the blue with perfect strangers,
Oh my God.
Co-creation at its best, Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I love that.
Total
That's why
co-creation
the
with that family.
podcast is
Yeah.
called Manifestation Real Talk, because
Yeah.
you were so perfect right there where you said it's still going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But what
It's gonna
was
work
the
out.
trip along the way like?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the difference between riding in economy
Yeah.
or riding in first class.
Yeah.
It's the trip along the way, but are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? It's every moment of life. Every single flipping moment of life can be first class if you just let go. And I loved the voice that was just, oh honey. Yeah, and again, it was my future self. I just kind of reached out to the part of me that got home.
Yeah.
And this is when shit was hitting the fan left and right. And I was just standing in this god awful long ass security line that was going to make me miss my flight. And I was just like going, I was just smiling. And I know you every once in a while you feel the impulse, just go play a game. That's all I feel like doing. Just go play a game.
So distract your mind with the slow game or solitaire.
And that's what I did. I was just playing my game. And I reached out to my future self and I just said, okay, if you were right here in this line, what would you be doing? Because, your future self is just.
It's your future self is home and it's saying,
yeah,
don't worry about it.
And she goes, oh, honey, this already takes care of itself. So do whatever you feel like doing. Right when that happened, I felt a tap on my shoulder and I looked and it's a TSA guy. And he goes, you need to follow me. And I'm like, am I in trouble? Trouble? And he goes, no, I'm going to get you to a new line opening up. And I was easily a football field away from the TSA. And I'm like, okay. And so I follow him. And of course, the whole line behind me follows me. And we get right to the very front of the next TSA that, it's just, so this is why I love talking with people like you and stuff, because you get it. You understand it. There's no buts,
Yeah.
I love it. So anything like that happened to you recently?
Well, it's funny as you were talking about the TSA line. Oh gosh. So let me just swim around in here and see what I want to pull. This maybe doesn't sound like a significant story, but it just is the one that just keeps like whoa, 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 whoa in my head, especially as you were talking about the TSA security line. Is well, first of all, over the last number of years, my juju magic with airports and flying has been uncanny weird. I like what's coming up to me right now is a couple years ago, Ian and I went on a trip to the UK and Barcelona and one other place too. So we had a flight from the US to the UK and then stayed there for a while, the UK to Spain, stayed there, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and then back. And every single check-in counter line, security line, and customs line, we were either walked right up or had like one person right in front of us, which, especially when it comes to customs, is not customary. Like usually you get off the plane somewhere like in the UK or Spain or whatever, and you just expect to like queue up to like one of those snaky lines. It's going to be at least a half an hour. But on this trip, I want to say there were a total of like eight customs check-in, even when we came back to Seattle, and just literally walked right up and just breezed right on through. There was one time, in fact, actually, it was funny. On one of them, I walked up and there was actually a line of like 8 people, but literally I was walking up just like what happened to you. The TSA person or whatever went up to like, those little poles with the straps. As I was
Yes.
walking up, the lady undid the strap and was like, come right over here, and created a new line with me. I was like, of course. So good. So anyway, so as we were coming back from Miami on Friday morning, we got to the Hawaiian airport, checked our bags, and I remember we could see from the check-in counter there was a really long line for security, but we're TSA pre-check. And so I'm like, oh, I can see the pre-check flag over there. So once we checked in our bags, we started walking, and I thought it was funny because I noticed the regular security line was gone by then. Like everybody cleared out, but we're good TSA pre-check. So we walked to the TSA pre-check line, and there's a line of like 8 or 10 people. And I was like, oh, maybe we should have gone to the regular line because there was no line there. But oh well, like no big deal. Like we're not in
Yeah.
any kind of rush, right? So like we're standing in line, and I'm like on my phone, and Ian's doing his thing, and all of a sudden I hear Gina, and I turn around, and it's my dentist, who is the most loving, high vibing person, let alone dentist, that you've ever seen. Whenever I come in to the office, it's, even if I'm seeing the other dentist, he always comes up and gives me a hug. We talk for 10 minutes about all the fun stuff going on. He's super into positivity. He's asked me multiple times about Abraham Hicks and blah, 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 blah. And so of course he's right there, and I get to meet his wife, and we're like, give each other hugs. And I was literally just in his office, like within the week before leaving to Miami, getting a new crown and a filling. But again, it was another dentist, and he came and talked, and we had both talked. We were going to Hawaii, but we never connected at that moment that we were in Hawaii at the same time until we're in the TSA line. Big hugs. And then we walk through, and then we're waiting at the gate, and he comes up to me again. He's like, who's that motivational speaker guy you keep telling me about? Abraham? Oh, it's actually a woman, but okay. And so finally, I'm like, give me your cell phone number. I'll text you the information. So I text it to him. He's back with his wife. And then he texts me, my wife says she has this book. And I'm like, of course. Anyway, then we get on the plane, and it turns out they're sitting right in front of us. First row, first class, front row, and we're row number 2. And so literally, I had just seen
God.
on Facebook right before this interaction. I'm going to pull it up because it's an amazing quote. Right before this interaction, I saw somebody post on Facebook that says, keep your focus on how you want to feel and let the universe fill in the details. And I had a conscious awareness of like, holy cow, this entire week with the Paul Selig retreat, my vibes are like have so much momentum in this easy place of love, well-being, abundance, and connection, like connection in space, love and connection. And so of course, my loving dentist connects with me in the TSA line. And again, the perfect line, not the other line that would have been right straight through. It was perfect that this line was taking a while so he could line up behind the
Yes.
you. And so phenomenal. Just love.
I'm gonna tell you, you reminded me. Oh, I love this. I love that you're dentist of all people.
I
Of
know.
course, well, and that you have such a great a relationship with your dentist. You just don't think of that with a dentist, right?
Yes.
It's like, oh, I have a great relationship with my friends, with my SP, with everything. You don't think dentist.
Yeah, most people are like, ooh, to their dentist. I'm like, oh, I love you.
I had a situation like that happened where, exactly like that, where I had an old unemployment benefit came up saying, you owe us, you shouldn't have been on unemployment at this time.
Yeah.
And this was like from 3 years ago, and I'm like going, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And I'm like going, oh man, this was already taken care of a long time ago, but okay. So, but I went to the whole, it was a court session I had to go to. And I went to the whole court session just in the best of moods and just going, this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Yeah, I wonder how this will work out.
I know. And I walk in, and the judge is all gruff.
Yeah.
And he's just like, okay, state your name, da 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 da. And I'm just like giggling and laughing and being silly. And I'm like, dude, this was so all taken care of like 3 years ago. Can I tell you about that? And he goes, well, first, we're being recorded, so let's go through these things. And I'm like, okay. So he swears me in and everything. And the whole time I'm still giggling. And so he's reading what it's about. He goes, oh, you used to teach therapeutic horseback riding for this nonprofit company, and they paid you this amount, or you're claiming they paid you this amount, but they're claiming they paid you this amount. So, and I said, yeah, I know. And I said, here's the pay stub. I couldn't find the pay stubs, but they just popped up at the last moment, of course. And he, we go through the formality and everything. And then all of a sudden, when he turns off the recording, he goes, listen, I got to tell you. He goes, I'm throwing this whole case out. And he goes, my daughter is partially blind. She wants to teach therapeutic horseback riding.
I knew it. As soon as you said therapeutic, I was like, this judge has a connection to this thing. Yes.
He comes down around, he gives me this big hug. We start chatting and talking about it. I give my phone number. I'm like, have her get a hold of me. I'll get her hooked up. I mean, it was so, it's a judge.
Yes.
Judge, you know? And
then you realize, nothing was ever gonna go wrong with this whole thing. Like that whole thing was created so you and this judge could come together because him and his daughter had a desire for this thing, and you're a cooperative component. So here comes this court summons to get you in here so you could have this rendezvous. And he throws out the whole reason that you were brought in because that's irrelevant. Because what's relevant is this connection.
Isn't it? I love that. I love when you just realize that every single thing in your reality is some unique, amazing cooperative component that's leading you to another fantastic.
It's a continual unfolding. It's a and if anything is unfolding and you think it's bad, just chill out and let that unfold into the good thing that it's leading you to. A lot of people are like, oh, here's this what I think is bad along the way, so let me fight and push against it. And now you stop the unfolding that it would unfold into something magnificent if you just allow it and let go. Yeah.
Well, and again, it's the whole story. I could tell everybody, oh yeah, I was thrown out. And that sounds fun. But it's the flipping story that's behind that. That was just like, you get this thing going, oh man, I got it. Or like the IRS contacts you or something. This is for sure something amazing. You just got to let it be. Let it in. I was recently thinking about snowflakes and how because Southern California,
out of my snow.
we got hit. And it was so amazing. But every little snowflake is unique. There's never going to be another one in the history of snowflakes that's going to look like this particular one. And each one is so unique and so special and, created. And it's like, can you imagine the creation that goes behind something like that when you're looking out at a huge field or mountain covered in snow, and you think each one of those little snowflakes is perfect and unique and perfect and perfect and perfect. And it's like, how could anything in your life, if God or source or whatever can do that with tiniest little snowflake, how can anything in your universe be wrong?
And the cool thing is you're talking about the snowflake. I just kept also getting an image of and the snowflake is continually evolving too. Like there might be moments where it melts a little bit or it adds on a little extra little thing. Like it's in continual perpetual movement as well. And just getting more and more perfect, oh, so good.
Yeah, and I love this. I loved how I knew this was going to happen. I loved how this podcast has moved into the space of how everything is just taking care of it all. You don't have to do anything. It's you want to go to Amsterdam, but it's how you're going to get there. That's going to be the good story. Yeah. And letting it, just sitting back and letting go. Just let go of that cliff. Let go of that white knuckle control. And just see what happens because it's so freaking juicy and fun and yummy.
Yes.
Love this. Anything coming up for you?
Mm. Mm. Just first of all, how enjoyable this has been. Um, mm. You are so gifted and um, it's like what we were talking about before we began the podcast of the allowing of organic conversation to just unfold and you just follow the thread, and then that thread kind of go, and then another thread, and then you just tune in another thread and you just follow that. Like, this has been so enjoyable. Like, there's no agenda except to have fun and chat and celebrate life and celebrate the magic of life and that everything's always working out, share stories of everything always working out, share stories of magic. It's one of the most enjoyable ways to spend an hour.
And right, or a whole day.
Yes.
And
Right.
Neville
I
got
know. I was like literally thinking like, hey, you want to chat after this too? Like,
Oh yes, I will tell you that that when I turn it off here, stay on because I
yes.
love talking. But it's I want to first, before I want to talk with a little bit about how your connection with Oprah, this new thing you're taking on.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot what I was going to say. So, Neville Goddard calls this bridge of incidents. Like you're talking about how one thing leads to another, and Neville Goddard calls these bridges of incidents. Where maybe something seems weird, like getting a called summons to go to court over something, but it's, and I love that. I love being in the middle of these bridges and just going, oh my God, I can't wait to see where this is leading. Yeah. And always, and so you have recently co-creating with Ramona, which I love. And you guys, I'm going to, for whoever's listening, I am going to put a bunch of links down below. And one of them is some of my old podcasts with Ramona
Yeah.
Gailey, who's always such a blast. But what happened here that you're now doing a co-creation with her as
Yeah.
far as like a website and stuff?
Yeah, so there's two things we're doing together right now. It's one of those things like I was aware of what's now come into form. I was aware of it in my vortex for a long time. I mean, even within the first 6 months of me having private sessions with her, I was aware that like I want I want to take my private coaching sessions and release them to the world. Like I want people to be behind. So like for those who may not know me, once I discovered the teachings of Abraham Hicks and understood the techniques in NLP and modified them to marry Abraham Hicks, like I said earlier on the podcast, my life took a 180-degree turn. Literally, my vortex just began dumping out into my life. Um, I've been on over 80 this is in the last 7 years. I've been on over 80 vacations around the
You're
world.
always going somewhere.
We've had over 20 luxury cars, like 6 Porsches, 2 Range Rovers, Jaguar F-Type, 3, like literally insane. We've been to over 20 concerts like Adele, Coldplay, Michael Bublé, Harry Styles, like the amount of abundance of experiences and things and all that kind of stuff, millions of dollars flowing through and all the stuff, houses, multiple, like all the things. Like, and I love it. But my biggest passion, in addition for me to embody and understand and fully live the teachings of Abraham Hicks, is to share it with others. Oprah, when I met her in 2019, so 2 years after I really started this journey, they were a huge key in me unlocking a whole nother level of mastery of these teachings. And again, my passion, my calling that I cannot, it would feel awful to ignore. Like it's so satisfying to move through is to help others that are seeking this information of how to take the teachings of Abraham Hicks from the head into the body and into your life experience is undeniable. And so I just have a knowing, because I've shared bits and pieces of my Oprah sessions with people in my training program or people in vibrational mastery, and people love it. And so one of the projects Oprah and I have is I have almost 120 sessions with them now. So we're going to release them in seasons. It's kind of like seasons of like White Lotus, or, like Ted Lasso. There's like 8 episodes. So each season has 12 sessions. And so it's just like, when somebody's in the hot seat with Abraham, even though it's not your specific question, the answer applies to you in all the sort of ways. And so anyway, it's called Finding Alignment, is this project where we're releasing my sessions with Oprah. So that's one thing. So it's like you just buy the season and then you have all the recordings for life and this, that, and the other. The other thing I'm doing with Oprah is a live program. It's called Vibrational Awakening. And so we meet twice a week. On Sundays, we have a call with Oprah. So it's kind of like an Abe seminar in a way, where people raise their hand and they ask a question to Oprah. And even way beyond the answers that they verbally give, like the vibrational exchange, it is like the most palpable experience of release into the pocket of well-being I've ever experienced in attending any channeled workshop. There's just like this slowness to it that's just so divine. So that's on Sundays. And then people meet with me on Wednesday evenings to actually practice the conscious awareness and the tuning into the vibrations and sensations in your body, and teach people how to release resistance and allow the movement of the energy, and really practice being aware of the non-physical energy. Because even like Abraham says, and Oprah says this too, anything that's physically manifested now is actually not now. It's past news. It's old news. What's now is unseen, but you can feel it. You can learn to tap into the feeling of it. And that's the leading edge. Physical is not the leading edge. It's a couple steps behind the leading edge. The leading edge is a non-physical energy that you can sense and feel. It's the thing that says, hey, turn right instead of go straight. Oh, it's a thing that when you were in the airport in that corner away from everything, and they had an intention to find you, and they were led by go here, go here, go here, go here. They were tapped into, maybe without awareness, of a non-physical pull over here that matches their intentions and desires. And so that's what this program is about: vibrational awakening. Awaken your conscious awareness to the world of vibration and learn how to play in it, so you're not scared. Like when you feel a vibration that feels like, or you're not scared of it, you're allowing yourself to feel it and trust and know that it will move as you allow it, and feel the sensation of the movement. And then, of course, the cherry on top is always like your manifestations and the world around you will start shifting and moving. But yeah, so Vibrational Awakening is a live group coaching program I have. And then Finding Alignment is the recordings that you can buy and go at your own pace and get answers to your questions that way.
There's you catching on fire there. There's you talking about what you love to do. You just get so animated and you talk so fast, and that's that state, that delicious state.
It's so good.
And so anybody's listening that's wondering, what are we talking about with Oprah? Oprah is a channeled guidance that is done by Ramona Gailey. So it's just like Abraham being channeled by Esther Hicks. I was laughing when you said your dentist thought it was a guy, because that was me too. When I first heard of Abraham, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, who's this guy? Who is that guy?
And when I was listening to the recording, because it was a YouTube video, and it didn't show the stage or anything. It just was like some beautiful picture of a mountain. And it was just the recording. And it was some guy must have been in the hot seat, but I thought the guy was Abraham. And then here's this rude woman who kept interrupting. Woman that keeps interrupting this Abraham guy. I want to hear him. And then I started reading the little thing down below. I was like, oh. Oh my God. I love that. I love that you guys are doing this. I love that you've got this perfect co-creation going on with her. And
Mm.
that just sounds so exciting and fun. And I have to drop in on one of these Sunday sessions. And
So
oh
delicious.
yeah. And my biggest thing that I'm always telling everybody is like, you manifested me.
Yes.
You manifested me saying whatever I'm saying or whatever
Yes.
you're hearing.
100%.
Yes, yes. And to touch in onto the state that was that powerful. That
Yeah.
man, just a second ago,
Yeah.
touch in on what you were thinking,
Yeah.
where were you vibrating, what were you doing, that you manifested this.
Yeah.
And just enjoy it, kind of bathe in it, jacuzzi in it for a
Yeah.
second, and just be
Jacuzzi in
like,
it. Oh, I like that.
yeah,
Jacuzzi in it.
yeah.
Ooh, hot tub in it, baby.
Oh my God, I love the jacuzzi in it. I have this, I'll tell you, I have, since I last talked to you, where I'm at, I'm just in this gorgeous, gorgeous house on this amazing property in the mountains, right on a lake. And, huge jacuzzi in the back that I can go out in the middle of a snowstorm. I mean, it's just, it's just owning everything that I wanted and knowing it's coming. And yeah. And then knowing something even huger,
Even
more
bigger is
amazing,
on its way.
is
Yes.
coming from this. And, I can really feel it this winter, this crazy winter. I know you guys, because we're all on the West Coast, but down here in Southern California, we usually get 10 to 11. Our winter is usually 10 to 11 feet of snow. We got 26.
Feet.
We got 20
Not inches?
feet. Yes.
Oh my God.
20, I don't even know how many meters that is.
How
But
do you go to the grocery store? How funny.
you don't. And it was just like, and I had just been telling Sanjala last summer, I'm like, you know what? I've decided that California is now not going to be this drought anymore. We're not going to have the drought. We're going to be like tropical. We're going to have so much water. We won't know what to do with it. And I was talking to her last month and she's like, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
She's just like, you wanted this. And I'm like, I know. And I was having a blast through the whole thing. We had 1 week where we got 12 feet in 1 week. And I was just out there going, more.
Yes, how fun. Winter,
This is just so much fun. Never once was I in a space of, it was just such a blast, but it was such a downtime, a real downtime.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing my usual get up in the morning, go work. And as now go work is arising again, I'm like, no, this doesn't feel like this is what I'm doing anymore. I can feel something's like right
Something
there.
else is coming. Yeah.
And I'm really excited for it. I'm ready for it. I'm like, yeah, I love this place, but next.
Beautiful.
Right on. Well, I think we are complete. And I just want to say thank you so much, everybody who's listening to this. I'm going to have all her information, all these fantastic links down below for everything we talked about today. And thank you so much for being on the podcast, and don't go anywhere.
I won't.
Do you have anything you want to say before I sign off?
Trust your guidance. Trust, for anybody who's listening, trust your guidance that feels good. The thing that's calling you over here. Come on, you want it. Go there. That's the thing I want. And anything that's like, see if you can resist the impulse that comes from that not so good feeling place, and see if you can just breathe into your knowing of all is well. See if you can close your eyes and breathe and focus into what will show up initially as discomfort from seeing that mirror reflection outside of you, like, I need to do. See if you can close your eyes, feel into the discomfort in your body without being scared of it. Breathe and see if you can just if we have time, I'll just say, so the Mallison method is something that is most potent when you're guided by somebody, but it's also something you can learn to do on your own. And I essentially do it on myself all throughout the day. The big part of it is being able to kind of slow down your attention to anything going on outside of you, close your eyes, feel into the sensations of your body. If you notice any feelings of discomfort, my favorite thing to do is to sit with my awareness of it, bring my attention to where is it in my body, what's its weight, what's its color, does it have a texture? And literally, again, I'm not afraid of this thing that feels really uncomfortable. I'm not letting myself be afraid of the big scary monster that's out there in physical reality either, telling me I need to do something. I'm bringing all my attention to this non-physical sensation in my body. I'm using my imagination to bring that non-physical sensation into something I can see in my imagination. So it almost becomes physical in a way. Like, let's say it ends up being like a smooth gray stone. That's non-physical, but it's physical in the sense that I can see it and sense it with my body. And then I love asking that gray stone, do you want to stay gray or would you rather be a different color? You want to be white? You want to be soft pink? You want to be clear see-through? And then inviting that uncomfortable feeling for it to feel better too. And you release your grip on it that's keeping it the same. You relax your grip and allow it. It might end up turning into pink mist that starts flowing throughout your body. And as you're allowing it to change, you really want to allow yourself to feel the relief. Like Abraham talks about all the time, if you're feeling discomfort, a lot of times they have a practice that has you think about a better feeling thought. I find trying to go the thought route is difficult. It's difficult because you're at this vibration and the thoughts you have access to are at that same vibration. That's why they say just a little bit better feeling thought. But I find that slow going for me and oftentimes difficult. That's why I like to take thought about the topic out of it and bring all my attention to the abstract non-physical sensation, because it's easy to change the color of the rock from gray to blue. And when it's blue, all of a sudden that rock feels better. And you want to allow yourself to jacuzzi in that feeling of relief. You don't feel great yet, but relief feels great. And so feel that relief and then ask, does a rock want to change to mist or silk or cotton candy? Invite it to change to that. And when it changes to that, there's another shelf up of relief. Oh, allow your body to relax in that relief and just keep changing it. And eventually you'll reach a tipping point with that sensation where all of a sudden now you feel quote unquote good. You might feel relaxed. You might feel, ooh, a little eagerness. Like right now, I have to say eagerness because that's what I'm feeling in my body. I'm feeling these sensations in my chest that are kind of like bubbles that are like, ooh, right? So allow yourself to unfocus from the conditions that are all past tense anyway outside. Focus in your body to your receptors of what's really in there now, this vibration that you're sensing. Invite the vibration to finally have some movement. When you allow movement in this non-outward focused way, it will always allow itself to feel better. It's that cork that wants to float. This feeling wants to float. So if you allow it, invite it, it will. And your job is to feel the sensation of it beginning to float and how good that feels. And then it feels a little better. And then it feels a little bit better. And now all of a sudden it's feeling good. And then you allow yourself to jacuzzi in that sensation of whatever is good. You might end up hitting multiple good feelings: relaxed, calm, satisfied. Ooh, a little bit of love in there. Ooh, a little bit of proud, a little bit of respect, a little bit of like this, that, and the other. Now I'm feeling like eager or excitement. Now I'm feeling bliss. I'm not saying I'm feeling bliss because of any conditions. I'm playing internally with non-physical energies in my body and allowing myself to match the vibration of source energy just because it feels good. And then when I open my eyes and then I ask, well, what do I feel like doing now? Oh, I feel like going over here. Now that old topic that was like, rah, 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 you connected with well-being. You connected with, there's nothing I need to do right now. Nothing's going to hurt me. Like that can just go away. And then something that matches this vibration I am at can call me and I can allow myself to go to that and just keep the momentum going. So I guess if anything, that's what I want to impart with people. Yes. And in fact, maybe what I'll share with Kristen is I just created a sheet the other day, just yesterday, that is the self-calibration steps, which just
Ooh.
kind of really just goes over what I just shared about whenever you find yourself in a wobble, like when you allow your intention and your awareness to be that there's nothing more important than my mood. Even this fire that's blazing saying, put me out, put me out. There's nothing more important than my mood. I'm not going to be caught in by the illusion that something's gone wrong here. Because what happens is when momentum on something unwanted gets built really high, it's screaming for your attention and it makes you think you must do something in order. But if you're feeling an icky vibration, you go to take action, I promise you that vibration will become more. Even if you do put out that one fire, here pops up 3 more fires, and then you're constantly trying to take action. So if you make your mood your number one priority, and say that there's nothing more important than that I feel good before I take any action, I want to make sure I feel good, then you will allow yourself to stop, drop, and calibrate. If you're noticing you're feeling icky, there's no benefit in moving forward with action when you're feeling icky. All it can need to take is 5 minutes, 10 minutes to close your eyes, go within, breathe, and release resistance, float up, allow yourself to feel good, come out of that, and it can change the trajectory of your entire day. Yes.
Ta-da! I love that. I love that. Yeah. Are you going to make that available like as an e-document for people?
Yeah, like right now I can make it I can take like a screenshot of this or maybe make
Yeah.
it a PDF and send it to you, and
Yeah.
then you can put it on your podcast thing.
That'd be great. Yes. Yes. You know, and one of the things I love that I found being around Sanjala and going to her things, and just because she's a friend and I love to support her, is that everybody has a different, you know, for some it's feelings, for
Yes,
some it's imagination, for
yes,
some it is action. You
yes.
know, like I have a friend who she loves to get on her stationary bike, and that's her space of meditation, you know, getting that.
Totally.
Oh my gosh,
Totally.
she
Yes,
is
yes, yes,
like,
yes, yes.
yeah. And I have another friend who loves to power write. She just writes. She just
Yeah.
loves, and that works for her. And it's so wonderful to see the different things that
Yes.
work for people. And I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Totally, 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 totally 100%. Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. Yay. Well, thank you everybody for being here. And if you have any questions, any fantastic comments, let us know what you got out of this podcast. Comments are below. Take care.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.